let's try this again. Hello everybody and welcome back. It is now Monday and I missed the Sunday because I forgot what day it is. And so we're back and we're going to continue on from where we left off with this new little different backdrop today. So let's get comfortable and relaxed into kind of a dreamy state. It's very nice and warm out here today and there's lots of sunshine. So let's do a little lie down and close your eyes. And we're going to take some deep breaths together. So let's start. As you breathe, remember to think about some of the places that your mind is drawing more attention to on your body, whether it's discomfort or some stress or anxiety that's being held somewhere. And as we breathe in, we'll think about that spot, and as we breathe out, we'll let that spot go. So let's take 3 together. And one more. All right. And we are sitting on the beach with our legs kind of over top of this little sand part that sort of flows down to the ocean. And we've been sinking our feet into that sand a little bit. Let's just feel the sand on our body taking us in kind of a seated position that we can kind of think of our body just relaxing from the crown of our head all the way to our toes. Just do a small, quick little body scan. And relax any parts of your body that are still holding some tension. Your shoulders, your knees, your hips, your hands, our jaw. These are places we tend to hold a lot of stress. And relax. So you're looking out at the sea. Your eye level is now the horizon. You can see that the sun has come up. There's this orange slice of sky now. The sun is like a round ball in it, just slowly coming up, but it's big and it's warm and it's covered you in this warm glow. And you can feel the wind passing and the wind kind of picking up from the morning air. The sky above that orange is bright blue. You stand up and you walk towards the ocean. And you can feel the sand that's really soft underneath your feet, that you put your feet into a little bit. As you get closer to the sea, the sand hardens more and more. It's perfect golden colored sand. And then you put your feet into the waves a little bit. They're gentle. You can feel your toes, the sand from your toes just kind of clear away. And you look out. You've been looking at that sea for a really long time. And you kind of are curious what might be the other way if you turn around now. You came from this slight cliff and this big olive tree. And you look back at that all. You look back at where you came from. Sometimes it's nice to remember what experiences you have along this path to kind of map it and guide you to where you are, where you want to go. And each thing that you see along this path represents something that's happening for you in your life. And nature is always teaching us so much about how to grow and how to be and how to flow and how to discover and explore, and ways to feel calm and ways to change and learn. It's such a magical thing to experience. So as you look back and you turned around from the sea, you can see that there's this path kind of in between two small hills. So you decide to walk that way, and the sand is soft again, so your feet are kind of slipping through it quite a bit. And you go through this little mountainy path. And as you get deeper into this crevice, there's more grasses that are growing in the sand and little bushes and trees that you can see, and they're quite dry. And every once in a while you turn around again and see that the sun has risen just a little bit higher from the sea. And that orange is turning more and more pale, and everything is now becoming a swath of blue again, the sea and the sky. And so you continue to walk. And you can see that you can kind of go deeper into it. It gets a bit narrower and narrower. And there's a spot that sort of meanders back up. So you begin climbing, and the earth gets harder away from the sand. And it's very calm. It's a very gentle slope, easy to climb. And you take some breaths. The air is really dry, and you can smell this sort of dry, these olive branch dry, these kind of, again, this sort of eucalyptus smell, and some of those herbs from before, the rosemary and the fennel. Really amazing scents. And you climb, and when you get to the very top, you turn around, and again you can see the ocean, and then across that little crevice that's too far to jump, you can see back to the olive tree that you were at the other day, and to the area where you were sitting beside the cliff overlooking the sea. But if you look straight out in the direction that you're walking, you can see that there's a long distance of sand dunes, like soft ocean-side dunes. And you decide that you're going to climb them and walk down them. So you start by going down this little area that you found that's a little bit harder still. The sand and rocks are keeping you. And then when you get to the bottom of that first undulating landscape, you feel the sand. It's different. It doesn't feel like ocean sand. It doesn't feel like it was damp ever. It's dry. And you begin to climb the first dune. And every step that you take up, you kind of go down about half a step. So it takes a little bit of effort. The sand feels good, and your feet sink into it really easily. And you bend over and pick it up in your hands, and you can feel it sliding through your hands. And when you get to the top of the first dune, this wind from the ocean comes and picks up, and you can breathe that in, and it's fresh. And then you begin to walk over the first dune, and your heel sinks into the sand and slides way down, like a meter. You can feel it just like slide, but it's so comforting to feel like this ease, this simple ease of going down a hill. And your other heel sinks in, and you slowly sit and stand and kind of fall. It feels really good, and it's very soft. And then you climb the next dune, back up, and over that one. And you sit in it, and you put your hands in it, and your hands can go deep into the sand. And on this side, there's a little bit of grass sometimes. And then you go down the other side of the dune. And you could just tumble down. It feels like your body could just like gently fall down the side of the dune. And just imagine, just gently go with your mind over several more dunes. Just allow your mind's eye to do that effortlessly, this sort of climbing and falling and climbing and falling. And the sun is slowly moving through the sky. And the wind from the ocean is soft and cooling. You don't feel too hot. There's wisps of clouds in the sky. It's blue and white. And you go over all these dunes. And then you get to the very top of the last one. As you climb up it, you can see that there's more of a forest growing already. It's actually quite big oak and redwood trees are growing on the other side of these dunes. It's like a totally different forest than what we were in before. These, you can't quite tell yet, but you can see that it's different. So you climb to the top and you turn around to look at where you've come, this long way through this field of sand dunes. And in the distance you can see still the ocean, and you find this shady spot underneath a cedar tree that's kind of growing out over the dune. And you can smell that cedar. It smells so good. That soft, earthy smell that's just so rich. And the little branchy leaves touch your shoulders and you can feel this softness. And there you sit. It's a little bit grassy now, and you just look back at all the dunes, at the ocean, at the crevice that you came through to get to the dunes. You can still kind of see the olive tree in the distance, far away now. You've come a long ways. And let's just look out at that. You're in the shade, it's calm. You can feel this grass and this moss and this tree behind you. And you lean your back against that cedar tree. Cedar trees have really soft bark. It's not very hard like other trees, and you can just rest your body next to it. Look out. And we're going to take a couple deep breaths, imagining this sort of earthiness, this sort of groundedness, and this gentle calm coming into our bodies. So let's, with each breath, imagine it come higher into our bodies. So let's take and up into our chests. And just be filled with that earthiness and groundedness. It's so hard to stay grounded in these kinds of times, but it's so important. And we need to look at where we've come from and remember that we can love ourselves. And let's just keep looking back, and tomorrow we will go into the redwoods. Lots of love.